When I started this journey, it was like, I felt like I was starting back over, like learning to walk all over again, learning to talk all over again, learning to feed myself all over again. Like it was such a, wait a minute, I've spent 50 years of my life believing that I could opt out of emotion. And it was like very much the motto of just suck it up, just go do the next thing. I mean, I was just one of those, just go do the next thing and suck it up. And but it did take a toll on my body at about 50. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening to my body? Like, you know, you go to the doctor and you're like, I must be dying of cancer. Like all of a sudden it just hit me overnight. And you know, that's when I finally got serious about what the research he was doing at the time and all that he was learning and bringing home. But I wasn't really, I'm like, you do you, I'll keep running my company so that I'll support us while you learn all this. But for me, when it starts with the core motion wheel, it's a simple 2-minute exercise.
What was the initial response when he came to you with this?
Well,
were you already beginning to do your own work, so it was a little more receptive?
May I answer
or it was
that?
just
She was a very difficult case study, which is good for me because I was doing this research, and I love academics. I love researching, and literally, I would bring home like a 195-page project. I'm like, baby, you got to read this. This is so interesting. She's running her company. She's an amazing manager. Just phenomenal what she was doing. She's like, I'm not reading that. I'm like, well, at least read the 17-page abstract. You'll really be intrigued by that. I'm like, no. And she said to me over and over again, she goes, I got 2 minutes. Tell it to me in 2 minutes. I'm like, 2 minutes? It's 195 pages. So, but that actually helped me because I realized, okay, most people have about 2 minutes. We actually did the research with the core motion wheel where we told people 2 minutes. We did control groups with different amounts of time. And the 4 minute for 2 people was the runaway winner, far, far ahead of 5 minutes. If you tell people 5 minutes, they think it's half an hour. You say, this will only take you about 5 minutes. And they're like, yeah, right. It's a third. So the 5 minutes.
Every morning I come out, because Tammy gets up 2 hours before I do. I come out and she's watching funny videos or something. Right. And she, oh, you got to see this. And the first thing I look at is how long is the video.
Right. Yeah.
If it's over 2 minutes, I'm thinking, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I got things to do. I mean, but that's funny you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that helped me to narrow it down and say, okay, just for this case study, I got to come up with something.
See, when I was early in recovery, my favorite story is I heard a speaker talk about tools. And he said he had songs and dances was his analogy. When I dated a girl, I had 8 songs, 8 dances. And when they were played out, I knew the relationship was over because she would look across the table and I'd see something in her eyes that she wanted from me. I was unable to deliver, and that was it. I hated her. She didn't know it was over, but it was over. And then when I got wealthy, I had a few credit cards I could throw across the table and salve it for a while. So anyway, what I heard then was it resonated with me because I dated girls. I had my routine. And when the routine was played out, now I'm in this marriage. She's looking at me across the table. Believe me, she's looking for something. And I can't come up with it. So what I hear is I just need new tools. That exhilarated me. So I ran home and played the tape for Tammy. She starts crying. She goes, if you want a divorce, just ask me. You don't need to use these people. I go, is that what you heard in there? Holy cow. You know, so the joke was whenever I'd play anything for her, I'd play it for the neighbor lady. I go, what do you hear in that? Thinking that all women are alike. But that was kind of the start for me was, okay, I need different tools in which, and now I'm at a point where whatever I've been using for the last 25 years or whatever, 30 years in recovery, it's, you know, if Tammy was sitting here, we would say we have a good marriage. We do. I mean, we're at least open enough to talk about, and when we do have those moments where conflict gets out of hand, we don't sit in it for more than a day. Well, I'll get up in the morning and go, I hate it when we get like this. And she'll say, I hate it too. What can we do to get past this? You know, and we've at least evolved that much. But when I heard about this, I was intrigued about this because I'm thinking it can unstick me
Mm.
When I got in acting class, I was shocked at how many men can't tap into anger.
Mm.
Just the scenes that they would have to be angry would make them cry, or they would make them shut up, and they would, and that was so easy for me. But then again, the other emotions that I had to tap into in scenes were difficult.
Mm.
So this, I think, would be a wonderful tool for actors.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because then it gives you a tool chest. At least you can go, okay, I've experienced all these, and my life didn't end.
Right.
Wow.
Because the panic starts when things, certainly if you got smacked and told to shut up the minute you tried to express yourself as a child. And I used to, when I lash out on my children, go into the bedroom and apologize and tell them believe me, it's not you. I said, I have problems. This isn't normal. And I remember asking my son, I go, how do you feel when daddy yells? And he'd say, sad. And I go, I don't get that.
Mm.
I'm giving you permission to be angry with me. And he goes, no, daddy makes me sad.
Mm.
And that's when it kind of hit me that most people are stifled at every other emotion when they're kids, to where you just defiantly pound your fist. I'm not going to feel anymore.
Yeah.
You know? And then the alcohol comes in and you go, wow, this is great. Now I feel something. It's an illusion, but you feel it. And I can feel it, the apathy. I don't even know if that's an emotion, but I see it in these kids at the airport on their devices. You just see it emanating from them. Is this all there is? And you want to stand up and go, no. And that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now, is I want to feel, well, I told Tammy, I said, we don't know how to enjoy the fruits we've been given. I have friends, Lenny's one of them. He goes on vacation, he comes back, and he relives the entire thing, and I can how much joy he had. All of it, I feel. I go on vacation, I come back, what'd you do? I went golfing. I think, and the aesthetics and all that stuff, I envy that in people. They hear good music and they soak it in and they experience it. Am I so dead? And again, I have a good life. I could check the boxes. I didn't want to turn this into a therapy session. You can take all that out, but the hell's wrong with me?
So if you were lied to all of your life and whatever it is, somebody told you when you were a kid that this was a kangaroo and you believed it. That's what they told you. You didn't know anything otherwise.
Right.
And then, what is this called? A vase?
In my neighborhood, it was a vase.
A vase, oh, sorry. But, so it's a vase.
In Brentwood, it's a vase.
It would feel very odd to you to find out all these years, all these freaking years, which is our story. This is not a kangaroo. Kangaroos are in Australia, and you're like, what? No, I know what a kangaroo is, and that's a kangaroo. And then you find out it's a vase. I'll be darned. Who knew? So that was very much our story. Phyllis was in her, and she mentioned, she kind of alluded to this, she turned 50 and her whole body started breaking down. She went 6 days without sleeping, which is humanly not possible. And she was losing her mind. And her kids were watching her going, Mom's gone. Well, she's not a human anymore. She's still running her company, doing a phenomenal job with
Task.
that. And then I brought the core motion wheel to her, the first one I ever developed. And I said, you need to do this. And I was able to slow her down enough to do it. And she slept that night. And she woke up the next morning. She was like, I don't understand what happened. And, I'm a scientist. I'd researched it enough that I knew what had happened. she started to exist again as a human. She released all this stuff that was just completely stored up inside of her. And then it's not a one-time fix, but we started doing the core motion wheel every day, 2 minutes each. And it was phenomenal. And she started discovering herself, and she was able to sleep again, able to regain her mind. And we were stunned by that. Again, I mentioned she was a difficult case study. So getting to watch her experiences and be like, because I didn't know, I'm just doing the research myself. I'm just learning this, discovering this myself, and I'm watching her going, oh my goodness, this is bizarre. Because I didn't give her some injection every night,
Right.
you know. All we're doing literally is getting her to process through what's already happening. She doesn't have to go to Costco to get it. It's already happening inside of her. So, and I'm not teaching her, I'm not against any of this stuff. I'm not teaching her Myers-Briggs or the Enneagram or, you know, the Zodiac or chronograms or love languages. Those things are all great to learn everything you can. But she actually just needs to be human. Because we don't teach that stuff to a 12-month-old. We don't sit a 12-month-old down, an 18-month-old, and go, okay, you got to get your Enneagram number down. Here. There's an 18-month-old. You're like, what?
We've all seen it in our young grandchildren. The you know, she touched me, you know, and then a minute and a half later they're laughing and joking, and then 2 minutes
because they process through it.
What's
exactly? They released.
That's it.
That's what we're supposed to do. Do you know how to stop having the need to exhale?
No.
Stop inhaling.
No.
If you don't inhale, you will never have to exhale again. Yeah, but there's a downside to that.
Right.
You'll be dead soon.
Yeah.
So emotions, because what we've done, again, for centuries is we said, stop having emotion. Well, that's like saying stop having oxygen.
Or telling you the emotions are inappropriate.
Right. And you can't stop the emotions. You can't stop the need to breathe. You can't stop exhaling. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to inhale and then exhale. Well, the same is true with emotion. And a 12-month-old knows this, does it extremely well. If you meet my grandchildren, they're brilliant, not because they're my grandkids, but they just are. They're brilliant. So, but we didn't teach them how to do this.
Right.
They process it because that's how they're coded. They're hardwired this way from birth. I believe there's a God designer behind it. But even if there is no God, it's still true. This is what a 12-month-old does. Well, they're never supposed to forget that. But unfortunately, we encourage them to forget it with phrases, verbal or nonverbal, intentional or unintentional, such as, you stop your crying, I'll give you something to cry about. We do this as parents. We go, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay. No, they're not okay. If they were okay, they wouldn't be crying. The reason they're crying is because they're not okay. They will let you know when they're okay.
It's interesting you say that, because that speaker talked about crying with one of his children. And he said, I learned we will tolerate our children's tears as long as we were tolerated as children. And he says, I figured out my father gave me 3 seconds.
Wow.
Because, so I used to let my kids cry. I would just go, let it out, man. Just let it out, get it out,
Wow.
you know. And as uncomfortable as I was holding them through all that, I knew that it was healing me by allowing them to do that.
Yeah.
I've heard more stories like yours about men, not so much women. Women seem to tend to process their emotions a little better because they're allowed to. Nobody looks at a woman who's crying and thinks, what a wuss you are. And I noticed that you and I tend to tear up a lot. You know? And the women sit and they're fine, you know. But for young boys to be men, it was, you know, it's interesting that I'm seeing this more and more in the podcasts that I'm listening to on men teaching boys to be men, that you need to be able to process these things. Otherwise, you just become a jerk.
Absolutely.
Right.
You just become one of those either domineering or you go the other way where you're completely disconnected and you're useless to your partners, and you're useless to your friends and your inner circles. Now you have a practice, right?
Well, kind of going back to the tools and how they played out for us. And they were so life-changing for me. And yes, Glenn got done with school, started his private practice, and started using these tools with his clients and saw incredible results. And then I got involved in was like, babe, you can't just teach this one person at a time. Like, there's got to be a way to get this out to the world. Like, everyone needs because they're so simple. I think there's a lot of talk and a lot of conversation now, if you go looking for it, about emotions. Brene Brown is brilliant, but it's often, okay, we all know we have them, but now what? And what do we do with them? And so...
Well, is the profession set up, I don't mean to interrupt again, again, this is what ADD looks like, but you think the system is set up to perpetuate? My first question to my therapist was, how long do I got to do this crap? She goes, wow, that was quick. Normally we're like a month or two in, and I said, well, I'm not going to come to you the rest of my life. So when do I know I'm well? And she said, I simply put, right now you make some pretty crappy choices when you can make better choices I'm going to help you navigate your way through these choices. When you can make better choices on your own, you don't need me. Okay. That was an end game for me. So they come to marriage counseling, and you're out of business if you heal everybody. 2 sessions.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. There's plenty of crappy.
Well, and that's my point.
Well, but that is always his goal. Here, let me give you the tools, and let me walk with you as long as you need someone to walk with you to actually use the tools well. We all believe in coaching. A great football team has a coach. They always will.
Absolutely.
And they don't just have one coach. I mean, they have a coach for this and a coach for that and a coach for this, and they have so many. And I think that the better that we navigate life, we have coaches, which is interesting because we realized there's only one of him. And so we were like, we need an army of people teaching this and doing this. And so people actually started asking for that. And so it's not been 2 years yet. It's been started in the early part of 2024 that we started certifying coaches all over the world.
Oh, okay.
And then these people took it upon themselves to be like, hey, can we translate the book into Spanish? Can we translate it into German? Can we translate the core emotional wheel into all the different languages? And we were just like, absolutely. Like, how else can you use this material if you don't translate it? But then what came from that was people going, we don't want to be coaches, but we want to dive deeper into this. And so from that, we have just launched a school of connection, which means that is for everyone. And it's all online, but it's like for you to dive deeper. It's like 8 weeks, twice a week, 2 hours, like twice a week. But you come into this community where everybody's using the language and they've all, either read the book or done one of our master classes. And they're like, okay, now I just want to practice this with other people, and I want to see how it's affecting. I want to be in a safe place to be able to learn this and sit under Glenn's tutelage, or our tutelage.
Apostolic.
I mean, just I don't know about that, but to be able to kind of go, we want to dive deeper. Like, how do you start? And then you even bringing up therapy. Therapy for a lot of people is not even possible because of economics. And it's a luxury for most people to have a therapist. And like you, they go, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. So what's the goal here? And give me something. And so it's like, well, with something like this, you go, I want to dive deep. I want to go 8 weeks with this group of people. And what's really cool that we did not dream of when it first started was that the connection made and relationships built within these groups that continue on beyond the 8 weeks they were together. And then we have, so many other things. It's like once you're in, then you also get access to having once a week a coaching call with everybody. And Glenn is, and our, it's just an incredible way to go, okay, so this is not just a book you read. This is actually a way to take this and to dive deeper. And I think to me, what I love is there's been people have asked for it, demand, like, please do more than what you're doing. And we look at each other and go, how do you do more than what you're already doing? Like, the only way is to bring people together in groups. Yeah. That's one way, to take it from a private practice one-on-one to let us do this as a group. And then I think just that people go, well, I don't want to be a coach. Like, I'm not going to put a shingle on my door and become a coach. But I do speak to a lot of people, or I am someone of influence, or my voice is heard on podcasts or on shows that I do. I want to use this on a platform that I stand on. And I also want to be able to teach this to my grandkids or my neighbors. And so I want to be more involved. And that's where we are now is we just launched it this month. So it's brand new for us. But we've been working on it, for, of course, these last 2 years a lot. And that's what's exciting, because it's like sometimes when you find tools, you're like, great, but how do I really get good at these tools? And,
right, because that's the big point is the knowledge, the information. I'll present it to the United Nations someday. I'm 100% confident in it. It's completely irrelevant. If Phyllis and Glenn don't know how to use this, it's irrelevant, the book knowledge. Again, I'll present it anywhere, anytime. We travel all over the world doing this. But it doesn't even matter. If these two don't experience it, it has to be experiential. And that's what the School of Connection is all about. Say, okay, now you have the information. Now we're actually going to practice. Because somebody, you remember Howard Cosell? Your old remember him? Okay. Yeah. He never played football. Yeah. So he could talk football endlessly. He had no idea how to throw the thing. So just because he had all the information did not make him a great football player. And that's unfortunately what we've done. I don't even like the term. We've used it a few times, but I don't like the term emotional intelligence, because I think what's happened is people have learned about emotion. They're like, oh, I'm emotionally intelligent. Yeah, but you're not emotionally functional. Right. And they just have the knowledge and the information. I want them to actually know what to do.
The thought that popped into my head was a number of years ago. I went to a golf instructor. And after about 10 balls, he goes, what are you trying to do? And I told him, he goes, you physically cannot do what you're trying to do. So you either go get flexible, you go do the yoga, you go do the work you need to do, or you just give up on the fact that, because you're not going to, you just physically can't. Wow. So it's great that you have the knowledge of what you want to do, but without the proper package, the tools,
but I'm sorry to interrupt. In my experience having the tools for the last couple of years, I was thinking here when you were talking about like, well, what if Tammy's not on board? And I was thinking like, well, for me, what times in my life have I been in a relationship or something that's not as intimate as marriage, of course, but where I'm the only connection coder and there's not another person. And the best example is my son. He's almost 16. I mean, talk about disconnects in the morning. And it's because of my vocabulary and using the connection codes that I can stop and take a beat and say, you know what, I'm really losing some identity because you're mad at me and you just woke up, and I feel a lot of loneliness, shame, and I don't want it to turn into anger. So then just talking like that to him over the last couple of years, because originally when I first got into this, I was like, being Californian, I could easily start a cult. It's like cult mentality in California. So I'm like, how do we make this a village where we all live together in a commune? And then Glenn and Phyllis, they can be the heads. And it's like, I'm like, we're going to have a Netflix documentary. Like, I just so easily slip into like, I'm a vegetarian now. This is my identity. I'm a connection coder. Like, it's so easy. And so I was so excited about it that I evangelize everything to my own detriment. And so Havoc is, we got to mark his name out. 128. My son, he's like, when I started going to you guys, that must have been 2 or 3 years ago. So he's like a young pre-adolescent kid. And I'm like, this is what we're going to do. This is your emotion wheel. And he's like, you're coming at me with a lot of stuff and too much excitement. So what I've done is just implemented the vocabulary over the last couple of years. And now, because of his flexibility in being a child, he talks like that. So it'll be like a great example I've heard you guys use that happens in every household is, I asked you to take the trash out. And it's like when a kid or a husband doesn't take the trash out, immediately it's like my identity is gone. I'm here cooking dinner. I asked you to take the trash out. I need the trash so I can keep cooking dinner. Why doesn't anyone care? And he'll take a beat now and be like, you know what? I went to school. I had a really exhausting day. I felt a lot of shame. I felt kind of dumb today in class because I was struggling with some things.
Wait, he says this to you?
Yeah. And so it's just like, because it's now moved into that. So that's one example where it's kind of a one-sided relationship. Another thing that I've really noticed in using this is, you know, when you read those self-help books and stuff, they're like, just put up healthy boundaries. Just put up healthy boundaries. And to me, healthy boundaries means I'm going to block their number and never talk to them again, and they're dead to me. And that doesn't work. So instead, sometimes I have to really knock my pride and just send the email and send the text message that's like, forgive me, but I feel a lot of shame or embarrassment because this happened, or I felt like you might have taken this way. Like, Jeff had this really wonderful movie come out, My Seven Grandmas, and we went to the premiere the other day, and someone of prominence really hurt my feelings, and they didn't even know they did it. And because of their stature in entertainment, they had just said, like, to someone I was with, was like, she must be a lot, huh? Like, she's a lot to be around. And that just, I was having a great time, and I was having so much fun. And then it was like the car ride home. Like, I am a lot. When I get nervous, I'm like we talked about earlier, always being the funny person. I got to be just the funny person. And that's kind of my, I'm safe here. If I'm making them laugh, they won't hate me. This is my acceptance. And instead of going to that person, because I don't know them very well, I went to a good friend, and I was able to use the connection codes and process what had happened and say, this person said this to me. This made me feel a lot of shame and a lot of embarrassment, and I already feel like I don't deserve to be around these people. And I already walked in feeling worthless. And then when that was magnified, and then you must be a lot. And it's just like, even though I'm one-sided in it often, because not everyone in the world's a connection coder.
We're working on it.
You're working on it?
Hurry up.
It's still a great way for me to process what I'm going through and invite people into this vulnerability and the authentic me, because people say, put up healthy boundaries, be the authentic you. And it's like, well, what does that mean? And these are the tools. 1 + 1 = 2. And this is how I'm doing it in my life. And so I just so appreciate the connection codes and this, and just thinking about, well, how does this affect me day to day? And I haven't seen you guys in a while. And it's like, oh, well, you guys have been in my life for years without even realizing it.
Well, I'd love for us to do the wheel.
Okay, but wait, I have to talk about the podcast real quick.
Oh?
So we have a 16-year-old grandson. He's 6 foot, almost 6'5". He plays football. He's just a beast. And we had him on our podcast the other day. We had him do the wheel. And his mom has cancer. I mean, the last year and a half has been, you have to see the podcast, is stunning. And he knows this language. And he knows how to do the wheel. He knows how to process. That doesn't mean that it's magical fairy dust and you fix everything. It just means he knows what to do on a Thursday afternoon when he gets hit with sadness because of his mom's, I mean, hello.
Yeah.
Well, and he'll share this with you. He had a panic attack at school some time back, and Phyllis was available, went to pick him up. And I'm not mad at the school counselor. The school counselor didn't know what to do. This big, hulking 16-year-old young man, I guess just call somebody, come pick him up. This needs to be in every organization in the world, including schools, where the school counselor, and again, I'm sure she's a wonderful person doing the best she can sit down with him and say, hey, can we just do the wheel together? Because that's what he needed. He needed to process through. That's a panic attack is a result. It's a result of all this unprocessed emotion. Great, let's process the emotion. And culturally, we don't do that. We just go, well, you know. And so often the disorder of the psyche is the end of the conversation. He had a panic attack. Oh, okay. Wait, that was supposed to be the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah, now they'll write a prescription.
Right, yeah.
You need Xanax.
That's another podcast we'll have to do. Well, but we say, oh, she's bipolar. And that's the end of the discussion. It's like, wait. What's happening for her that resulted in bipolar. Let's find all that out. So
I feel triggered right now. I think that's what they've said before they've broken up with me every time.
Well,
oh, she's bipolar.
yeah. And I want to find out what's happening before that led to that.
When my wife was going through breast cancer, I remember she was shaving her head to get ready for chemo. And my oldest son walked in. He was, 25 years, so 12, 13. What are you doing? She said, I'm getting ready for chemo. He goes, why? You're not even sick. And he goes downstairs. So she says, you want to talk to him? You want me to talk to him? So anyway, the next day or 2 days later, he was going to have a friend over. And Tammy said, you can have him over, but I want to hear you tell him in front of me that your mother has cancer. I want to hear you say the words. And he goes, why? So anyway, the kid comes in and Aaron says, my mother's got cancer. And the kid goes, bummer. And then they go downstairs. That unstuck him. Being able to at least acknowledge the fact that his mother had cancer. Yeah. And that my youngest was completely the other way around. He wanted to be part of everything. He went to 30-some radiation treatments with her. 7 years old or whatever, 8 years old. Was going to cure cancer because he was 8. He says, Mommy, when I get big, I'm going to cure cancer. But in just listening to you talk about the anxiety, had she not pushed him, I guarantee you, a year and a half, 2 years down the line, that being stuck in your rib cage or whatever is going to come out. When he was really little, I remember calling home. He got in a fight at school, and I called him at home. And I said, I was on the road. I said, what's going on? He goes, what do you mean? I said, this isn't you. Why are you punching people? It took me 5 minutes to get him to go. It was during the Iraq War. He says, you fly in the sky, there's bombs in the sky, you're going to get blown up and never come home.
Wow.
Yeah. So I said, well, we have a neighbor, Mr. Duke, who trains pilots at Litchfield. He trains pilots to drop those bombs. So you go talk to him. So I called him the next day. I said, did you talk to Mr. Duke? He goes, I did. We're kicking ass. But I think about the way my father would have handled the whole thing. You're right. It's in us. We have the ability, but sometimes you have to pry, and most people don't want to pry. But I was doing my own prying on my own. So I learned more from my children than I knew from any of the therapist I had was great. I used to tell people, if you're going to a therapist, go to one that works for the state. They're not in it for the money. And $15 an hour. She's got to get out of here. You're done. You're well. But I think that this is so important, and I couldn't have put words to it until I talked to you guys. But this is, I think I'm stuck on 2 of them, maybe 3. I've been able to unstick a couple of them, but there's a pile inside of me that I'll be working on, And I think you're right. I know Tammy. She is a counterpuncher. She will respond to what I give. She really is. She's a sponge and soaks up. And I used to tell her, my problem with you is you've settled for less than what I can be. She used to push, and we have a comfortable life. We have a nice life, but I want the less, whatever years God gives us. I want it to be this. I want it to be this connection that I know is available. That I can't seem to tap into. So maybe this is what it will be, and I will evangelize.
Well, let's do the wheel.
From the rooftops.
Yeah. Cool. I'll let you guys.
Well, I have to tell you, since we're going to do the wheel, I will be honest. When you said at the beginning we're going to do the wheel, I got filled with fear.
That's 1 out of the 8 already. You're on a roll, dude. Rocket.
Well, we'll start.
I was fearful.
It's always good when we start. You want to go first? Can we go first?
Yeah, I can. Well, fear for me, driving here, I felt some fear because I've listened to some of the podcasts, And I'm faith-based. I absolutely believe in a God designer, God creator. But some of the podcasts I listened to were very religious, and I'm not very religious. So I did feel some fear that I would be adequate for what, of course, I know you, but I don't really know Jeff. Just admired him from afar. So I felt some fear with that. A little bit of loneliness in that. It's like, oh, shoot, we're going to be on camera. And halfway through, Jeff's going to go, you don't really fit our mold. You're not who we want. Get out. That was an unspoken word that I heard. Let's see, some anger in that our religious heritage is so judgmental and so pigeonholed, and you have to follow everything exactly right. And of course, that's been our life story. I've pretty much never fit into a mold, unfortunately. Some shame in that. I've felt so much shame for so many years that I don't fit. I'm a very dynamic person, but nobody wants me. As far as a group goes, I've been thrown out of endless churches and groups, and I get that now. Not that I was a victim or handled it well, but I've certainly been rejected by a lot, and I never could figure out what the hell's wrong with me that they don't like me, because I'm trying hard. I really am here. And I feel guilt with that with you, just because you were always the perfect church girl, and everybody loved you. Like literally, people would throw me out of the church and they go, "We want Phyllis to stay. We just want you to leave." It's true. And then I felt, and she always was loyal to me, and but I feel guilt that dragged you through so much of that. A lot of sadness in that. Church is fun. You guys talked about that on one of the podcasts I listened to. Just that church is supposed to be this safe, incredibly safe environment, and instead it's become, I grew up, using the phrase, your Sunday go to meeting clothes, and you have to dress your best and wear your best, and I just feel so sad about that, because it somehow is completely, I don't know if it's exactly the opposite, but it's close to the antithesis of the heart of God. Lots of hurt over the years, just not being able to be accepted, not figuring out what is it they're wanting. And I had different friends. Always reference Timothy, who I just adore. He's always the golden boy, and I'm like, how come they like him so much and they don't like me? And joy, so much joy getting to do this now with you. Doing anything with you is just phenomenal. But getting to travel the world and meet people and connect so deeply, so quickly. There's sadness in that, because we meet people and connect with them deeply, and then it's like, well, we're on to the next location. But just so much joy. It's unbelievable that we've learned these tools. We haven't arrived, but it's pretty phenomenal what we're getting to live, and then to get to be ambassadors around the world for this message. A lot of joy in that.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. I think for me, I'll start with hurt. Mine is probably just that my body has been sore this week after that my workout the other day. So there's physical hurt. I think I have some lonely with all of the tasks that have to be done for our Europe trip. Fear that, probably a lot of fear about the unknowns of traveling Europe and getting from point A to point B. And I'm maybe overthinking it, but fear about just even my body holding up to all the that traveling for 5 weeks. Let's see. Sad. I think I feel sad that our grandkids and kids are already expressing they're sad of us being gone so long. So I'm feeling that sad. Let's see. I would say the shame for me is in, just like probably that even though I've worked really hard this year, my body is not where I wanted it to be by the time we did this big Europe trip. So some shame there. Let's see. Guilt. I would say, I think I feel guilt when I'm not in tune with what is happening for you. And I think even this morning you were expressing pain over the tasks that have to be done for Europe. And I feel guilt. I don't know that I always, in those moments, tune in very well, or even, you went very well. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I hear you, but you need to get it done. So I feel some guilt there. Anger. Anger's a tough one for me. It's the last time I felt anger. I think probably just, again, the stuff with your family, your mom, just that when she passed, the way all that happened earlier this year, and that it just keeps the rippling effect of it. Definitely feel some anger in all of that. Joy. Oh my goodness. The change of the weather, so much joy. Even getting to just be here today. I felt a lot of joy that this has been an opportunity. It's been on the calendar for however long. Getting to see you again. A lot of joy there. Getting to meet you, Jeff. Joy. Just, it's been a very joyful last few days. Fun yesterday being with some of the kids and grandkids. A lot of joy. So that's me.
Cool. Well, thank you.
We'll let you go last.
Who's next?
Okay.
Don't hold it.
Don't hold it.
Look at you. He knows stuff.
I felt a lot of anger on the way here because I was stuck in traffic. So just immediately I felt like I felt anger, not anger like I was mad at the people around me, but a lot of shame because it just like proved, I'm so stupid. If I would have left earlier, if I would have gone a different route, if I would have got up early or whatever. I feel a lot of guilt because you guys were here before me, and I like to get here first and make sure everything's set up and I can just be here for everyone. I have fear that because I'm always scared that Jeff's going to fire me. I'm always like, I'm late, I'm going to lose my job, and then I'm not going to be able to feed my kid. And it's just, I constantly live in that fear. Lonely, sad, and hurt are all really together right now because like we talked about, I'm going through a divorce, and it's just these waves of loneliness and sad and hurt. And it just, I can't seem to escape that rumbling fear of loneliness and hurt. Joy, I feel so much joy that we get to do this as a job. How crazy is that? And I feel so much joy that I got to see you guys again. And I knew I would be so excited to see you. But you know how there's something like this, I'm so excited to see them. But then when I saw your faces, it was like, I miss my friends. And so that was just, I'm glad I got to see you guys.
Thank you.
Gracious. I love it. Thank you.
No pressure, Jeff.
Not at all. Wow. Fear. I woke up with fear this morning. We were doing a huge addition to our home, and I wanted the debt, and also I hate disappointing my wife. And this is something that I felt a bit of guilt about, that maybe I pulled the trigger too soon to get her hopes up. And I really believe that we'll be able to do it in the spring next year. It's more of a cash flow issue than anything else, but because of our upbringings, that we were so promised so many things by the people around us and then never delivered, that it triggers the part of us that goes, it'll never happen. And waiting patiently for these things has not been a strong suit. So I was really trepidatious about sitting her down and telling her that we're going to wait. It's not a no, it's just not now.
Mm.
And she was really gracious about it, but I know I'm going to talk to her about it when we get home. So, but I was afraid of the not being able to pay for it and promising something that I probably shouldn't have promised. And from that comes shame. Have I mismanaged our finances to the point where, but it's a lot of sadness going on. My son's, because of what I did for a living, we're not very close. And that goes back to fear, is that this won't be healed before I leave. A lot of guilt with that as well. I remember telling you that, when we first met, that you were going to get off the road and quit. 5 years from now, you'll be grateful you did. You can't see it. Wow. There's a lot of hurt in that as well. That you wish, you could, especially my youngest, just wish I could hold him. A lot of joy with those grandkids, though. They at least let us see the grandkids. So much joy with them. It was so funny. We were sitting in the living room last summer, the summer before. We had just gone to the beach with the kids, and they were running laps around the kitchen and the living room. We have a big open, and the dogs were chasing them, and all this noise and chaos. I'm reading a book, and Tammy walked over and kissed me on the top of the head. She said, "My, how things have changed." So there's a lot of guilt in the way I told my kids to be quiet.
Wow.
Shut up. Stop making noise. There's a lot of loneliness with the road. And I'm fortunate that we've worked through, Tammy and I've worked through so much. I don't know if gratitude is on this, but anyway, cried enough for a podcast. But yeah, the sad, the hurt. And it's interesting, amidst all of that, with the grandkids, there's this uncontainable joy that we have when we get together and for those vacations. There was a lot of hurt when I came home, and my son, threw his jealousy, threw a wet rag over all of it. Almost like, how dare you have fun with our children without us? There was some anger there as well. I don't know. Again, there's this performance part of me. Did I do okay?
I'm honored. Thank you for your tears.
Yeah. It's the power of the wheel. It really gets us to say and feel and experience what is in there, and just honored that you would just let us see that, hear that.
Yeah, I can lay in a room and just see my kids when they were little. Just where'd the time go? And, you know, I tell parents all the time when I meet them on the road. I go, "How old are they? 7 and 9. Relish it. Before you know it, they'll be 6'6", 16, have a life of their own." So.
Yep.
It feels like the way to die with Christ is raising children, because it's like, I love this thing so much, and then it's like that tearing of flesh we talk about with marriage all the time on here. It's like, this is one of the most it feels like it's the time that I can really sit and be and feel what the Virgin Mary must have felt, because it's like, I'm going to love this thing, I'm going to take care of it, and then I'm going to put it out to the world, and it almost feels like sacrificing it to the world.
Absolutely. I look at my granddaughters. Somebody's going to break their heart.
Yeah.
I mean, you know it. You know, and I can allow my mind to go there and see them sitting on the end of their bed just devastated. You know, and you naively want to protect them from life. You know, but with my sons, you know, there's so much with our marriage, how we process what's going on. I'd be curious if I can get Tam to sit with me today and do this just on that issue in our life.
Yeah.
To
We
let
call
her
that
express herself.
Issue specific wheel, and they're so powerful. And you know, even with the four of us doing this, we've now done it and seen it so many times with strangers, you know, and or being a guest on someone's podcast and getting them in and pulling them in. And we always go first because we've done it many times, so we know it's like it makes it safer. There's this, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. But it also draws you out. It's like, it like Glenn said, it tickles that part of your brain, and so it comes alive in those moments of, they just said lonely, you know, and then it's kind of that the beauty of this. And so I would just encourage you with Tammy, it's just say, hey, I got this gift today, and I did this on the show, and I'd just love to do it with you, but you make sure you go first, so that you just are inviting her in. And I know sometimes there is especially we find it with teenagers, like when parents bring this home, their teenagers are like, no, don't want to try that. And they're like, well, okay, but I'd like to do it with you. Like, I would like to do it. And then eventually, especially if there's like a dinner table or some place where you kind of have a routine, bedtime, or eventually we hear over and over testimonies of kids that start going, they bring it to their parent and go, hey, you know. And it was fascinating having our grandson on the podcast, because we have a grandson that's 17, and he's been making movies probably for the past 10 years. And so some of the stories that our 16-year-old grandson shared were about the interactions of the movie making. And it's fascinating because now our 17-year-old grandson's a senior in high school, and he was going to college to make movies. Like, that's his actual, but he started when he was young. And there would be a lot of conflict among the boys, because all of them wanted to produce movies back then. All of them wanted to hold the camera. All of them wanted to be, but our 17-year-old grandson, well, that was his passion. And he was always like, no, I'm bringing y'all together to do a movie I want to do, you know. And they talked about how many times they would pull that wheel out because they'd be fighting. And he said recently, for his senior project, he made a movie this summer. And
using his cousins.
Yeah, using his cousins and other friends too. But at one point, the cousins were arguing, and he goes, guys, just go get the wheel. We'll do the wheel together. And then they all sit down, and they all have a turn. Like, you have a turn just to share about this. What's happening for you? Like, share this. And then he's the 16-year-old was just saying, Yeah, it always works. You know, we can sit there and argue and yell at each other, but man, you bring that out and then everybody makes space for everybody to just say what's happening for them. And then we are all like, okay, great, let's go make the movie.
Right.
Well, it was
Amazing.
8 minutes total. And how often do you really get to know somebody's vulnerabilities, something somebody's struggling with in just 8 minutes?
Yeah.
And like that.
Did we really do 8 minutes?
Well, it might have gone a little longer. But.
I feel it was a solid 8. It was a
Yeah.
hot
Okay.
5.
I'm impressed if it was.
Okay.
That's,
Well, you
that's the
flew
goal.
through. You made up for the time that some others used a little
Yeah.
longer.
Could be. See, our,
Hey, you want the wheel? I just saw a dig there.
our producer the other day, where were we with her? And she said, I did it in a minute. Well, you
Yeah,
remember
that's
that?
true.
Oh, she was in her breakout group.
Oh, right,
She said, I
right.
did the wheel in a minute. So, but you really do. You become more and more fluent in
Yeah.
this language because our goal with the wheel is to get you to convey it in real time. If Carollynn feels hurt by something I said on a Thursday afternoon, I don't want her to wait until Wednesday to go to therapy with somebody and tell them on Wednesday what happened to her with me on Thursday afternoon. How bizarre is that? It's like, wait, no. If you step on a nail, you say ow immediately. You don't wait until Wednesday afternoon. That's not human. And you don't tell somebody else about the wounding that you experienced with me. So our goal is to get us to be able to just do this in real time, in the moment, as it happens. That's what we're designed to do. That's what we're coded to do. That's what Malachi, our youngest grandson, and Rowan, our second youngest, do. They just convey automatically, instantly. They didn't plan it. That wasn't their New Year's resolution. They just automatically convey. We all did when we were 2 years old, and then we forgot how to do that. And so this is just retraining us to get back to our original coding.
So can you guys put in your show notes like a link? Because we want to give your audience a link to
Carollynn
so they
is
can
the
get
expert on all that.
they can get a free core motion wheel, and they can get the instructions and a video to show them how to do it, and just some information about the School of Connection. And
Yeah.
so if you'll
I'll put that in the show notes.
okay.
So for you guys, show notes
Yes,
below
look at
right
the
now.
show
Don't
notes.
wait till the end. Pause it. Look at the show notes.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we all need this as human. Again, we're just calling people back to their humanness. Again, if you study Enneagrams, great. Be an Enneagramaholic, I don't care. But you can know your Enneagram number and not know how to convey authentically, and you won't connect. It will not work for you.
Yeah.
Those are, again, it can be wonderful benefits in your toolbox. But if you don't know how to present authentically, vulnerably, you won't connect deeply.
Well, utilizing this we did utilize this in our marriage for quite some time, but the issues weren't communication. They were far past that. But it was immediately, even in a short amount of time, I got to know so many things about my spouse that I didn't know just by utilizing that every day. Because especially as comics, and Tammy's so funny, like to deflect, we're constantly like a little roast or a little there, or a little here. Or like earlier when I was like, I'm Carollynn the comedian on this comedy podcast. Now you're up to 15 seconds. And then I was like, oh, crap. Like that might have caused him some shame or embarrassment. Or like maybe I just, made a joke that wasn't kind-hearted. And it's like sometimes I feel like we get in joke mode. And especially me and my spouse were both comedians. And sometimes I didn't realize how sensitive he was. So he would be, hey, that made me feel a lot of shame. And I mean, it was multiple times that made me feel a lot of shame. Made me feel a lot of shame. And I had no idea the deepness he was struggling with shame and feeling embarrassment because he was more sensitive and all that stuff. And it was like, it was so beautiful to be able to see him in that light. And then for me to be like, to kind of establish these are joking times, read the room. These are joking times. These are more serious, calm times. And he's going to love me even if I'm not being funny and I can just be me. So yeah, it was just, it's such an amazing tool.
Wow.
Okay, I feel a little fear doing this, but for the sake of the audience, we try to delete the makes me. Just
Makes
convey
me.
the core emotion. So in other words, if I say to you, you made me mad, you made me feel hurt, that's really an accusation.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't do that.
Right.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I
hear
was
what you're
gonna-
saying.
I
It would
was-
just be shame. And then I would,
I just
I feel
felt hurt.
shame.
I'm not even blaming you. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm not saying you're 16% responsible. I have no idea. I don't even care. What I do know is I felt pain. I just did. I wasn't trying to, and you weren't trying to hurt me. I felt hurt.
Yeah, when I first started with the connection codes, I would get saucy. I'd be like, "You stole my identity." Like, not really.
Yeah. Well, and that's how most of us communicate is accusations. I'm coming at you. I'm blaming you for everything. There's no way I'm going to be able to connect.
Well, that's what people hear.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times we say it.
They
also hear it. I get that.
Yeah, I felt this when I heard this, and then they hear it's my fault, and then the defense comes up. So I think it's probably a learning curve, I would suggest. And then once you get safe, feeling, hey, the world doesn't come to an end, because that's been my experience as I uncover more and more, and then shut down. When I realized, the world didn't come to an end, because I shared that or I opened up about it, or my oldest son is doing his work right now. He's going to school to be a counselor for soldiers with PTSD. He came back from Iraq with pretty jacked up. And I could tell he's doing his work because I get texts from him thinking about you, Dad, love you.
Wow.
And I said to Tammy, I love it when men get into therapy because this is how they talk. You can tell. And then there's the issues with my other son. Everything's fine, and Tammy, you won't step foot in our house. You won't talk to us. No, not everything is not fine. Oh no, everything's good. Don't worry about it.
Well, this is such a shortcut. We call them the cheat codes and I'm not a gamer. Some of my grandkids are. And, I remember them showing me Super Mario. You go up this hill past this rock and there's a mushroom. They said, Papa, if you click on this mushroom, you're Super Mario and you're more powerful and you get to go faster. Well, that's what the connection codes are, is a cheat code to get there quicker. So if you're, and again, I don't know your sons, but if they're able to convey to you core emotions and you're able to ooh them, you'll connect really, really quickly because they probably experienced a lot of hurts with you that you did not do. But they did feel hurt.
Right.
And I've been amazed with my 4 adult children, the things that they've told me that I had no idea. That when they were 14, they experienced a deep, deep wounding with me, and I thought it was a fun time. And I experienced joy in it. Sometimes I don't even remember what they're talking about. Sometimes I remember that, like, oh, wow, I totally missed that because I thought that was a joy experience for everybody involved, and it was a lonely experience for you. Dang. And that's been hanging for you for 10 years.
Right.
And then they tell me, and I'm able to ooh them. I know, because what typically people do is go, what? No, that's not what happened. I remember that. That was when you were 14. Well, no, they did experience what they experienced.
Right.
They just did. And they're not blaming me for it. They're just saying, I felt lonely in that setting. And I felt abandoned by you, Dad. Like, oh, shoot. Wow. That's a lot. And I'm able to ooh them all the way through it.
Yeah.
Which, again, circling all the way back around to the emotional safety, that's the ooh is such an incredible
I told both my sons on their wedding day that I put stuff in you that you have no idea is in there. And I said, your wife will draw it out of you. So when you act in a way that you feel is unbecoming of who you think you are, you can come talk to me. And then it's not funny, but this is our gift to the world. The range. We came out of my granddaughter's 4-year-old. She was 4, little dance recital, which is like one of the cutest moments in the world. And my oldest was ripping the door off his minivan in the parking garage. And when it all calmed down, I went over and sat next to him. I go, this is what I was talking about. I said, I'm sorry. But it really is just a process, isn't it? And just this onion peeling layer by layer. But there is hope.
Well, the marketing idea I had for them, hear me out. Thanksgiving emotion wheel shirts. Right? Just a motion wheel from across the table all day, every day. Love it.
Yeah. People are starting to get tattoos about the connection codes.
Seriously?
I have to show you some.
I'm looking for a volunteer to do a core emotion wheel.
You wrong volunteer you're looking at.
On the face. Because then people would always know. I'd be like, oh, yeah. No, I'm kidding.
You gotta put
that would
sad
be
and
weird.
hurt, like, so they got a little tear.
Well, I'm going to be curious. I'm going to send this to my son and his wife in Montana. She just graduated with a degree in addiction counseling.
Wow.
And he is in the process of going to school for.
Yeah.
I'd be curious what their thoughts are on all this, and maybe we can get past some of the stuff that sticks when we go visit.
Yeah.
Well, before you guys leave, is it okay if the audience had some questions? Is that all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Okay.
But I do have tremendous fear that we've gone way past the time.
We're not at 5 hours yet, are we?
Do you have somewhere to be?
No, I'm talking about your
I thought we had 5
listeners.
hours.
Oh, no, they hang
Oh,
in.
if they've stuck this far,
Oh my
they're
God.
hanging in
Yeah,
there,
they
man.
hang in. They hang
And they
in.
can pause and take a pee
Oh,
break
my
or whatever they
That's
do.
the beauty of
Yeah.
long form.
Yeah.
I listened to
Well-
a 5-hour podcast
There you go.
from Atlanta to here, and I didn't finish because I got home at 4.5.
See, I listen at 1.5 or 1.75 speed. Everybody I listen to
Oh, really?
sounds like a chipmunk. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Like, another chipmunk podcaster. Look at that.
Oh my word.
Okay, so Katie asked, what advice would you give for a wife who feels her ambition and creativity are being stifled in her marriage while her husband believes everything is fine and only offers verbal reassurance?
Wow.
Well, these probably a lot of the answers are going to sound the same as far as once you learn to have the language,
Yes.
right? Then
Yeah.
she can just have the ability to express, I lose identity when this, but also to be able to find out what's happening for him and being able to express what's happening for you. Because sometimes it's like those are the unspoken words, not knowing what causes him to react that way is it's like I would just love to know what's happening for him. Because it sounds like it's almost like a pain experience that his wife is pursuing what she's pursuing, and
Or that she's unfulfilled,
and just
which
to
could be a
kinda-
shame experience for him. We're conjecturing here, which is dangerous.
Yeah, but it's that when you go, okay, can we slice the center? Can we use this tool? I'd love to hear, but then you got to be really showing up ready to hear and not defend and not try to, explain away, but go, I just really want to understand. It's the curiosity, I think, for both of them, becoming curious. Katie wrote in, so let Katie go, okay, I need to become curious about what's happening for him, that this is the way he responds to me.
Yeah, also learning, there's two weird things about the connection codes. The first piece is the identity piece. Nobody talks like that. We're trying to convert the world to use the word identity in that sense. But the second piece is to say joy. Again, the research bears it out really pretty close to emphatically. So we did a cruise not too long ago, and Phyllis saw the itinerary, and she said, oh my gosh, I read paint class, and I felt a lot of joy. And I said, oh, that's amazing. What else happened? She goes, I feel a little bit of fear and shame about the idea of going because she's never painted before. She goes, but I feel a lot of joy. I said, so what do you need? That's what we call the fourth phrase. I said, what do you need? She goes, I need to go to the paint class. I'm like, well, absolutely. And did you do 3? She did 3 classes, loved it, did great. And that was with our granddaughter, right? Yeah. Forgot that. So we have a 20-year-old granddaughter that was on this cruise with us. So when she says joy, it tickles the pleasure center of my brain. I experience joy. It becomes a shared human experience. I bond with her through it. I didn't go do the paint class, but and it wouldn't have been wrong if she just said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this paint class. But when she tells me the joy of the idea of it, it changes it for me. So again, I don't know, is it Kate or Katie?
Katie.
Katie. For Katie to be able to frame it that way, to say, I feel a lot of joy about this idea, whatever it is. My hunch would be, and I don't know her, I don't know her partner, but probably he gets hit with shame that she's unfulfilled. He's a crappy partner, a lousy friend, is probably what he experiences. I could be wrong. But if that's the case, that's probably what prompts him to resist it. Like, what? No, you're fine. You're great. Life is good. Be happy. Be grateful. Choose joy. And then she feels completely disregarded in the process of him attempting to regard her, which is bizarre that it works that way, but it does.
Katie, you can get an emotion wheel
Yes.
in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Do you want to do the next one, Jeff?
Mike, Can you share your thoughts on the differences in desires and impulses between men and women across life stages, from teenagers and young dating couples to husbands and wives throughout marriage? Holy cow. That's an entire...
That's a book.
It is.
Yeah, we'll be writing that book in a couple years.
Yeah.
Mike, we'll get to you.
Can I see the question? Man, even just remembering what you just said. Share your thoughts on the differences in desires and impulses. But see, I am going to read into this question because even earlier you were talking about how I am more, I don't know how you said it. You did it eloquently, but like I show up more like a man than a woman emotionally.
It's called
the stereotypical,
right? And so you read a question like this and you're like, this is as though there's differences that women have from men. Well, there's just differences. I'm different than Glenn, and Glenn is different than me. And I think we don't do ourselves any favors to always be stereotypical in our responses to each other, because there's just an automatic judgment. Yeah. I'm just like, it's kind of like when someone says, oh, I'm a lawyer, and immediately the person across the room goes, oh, I hate lawyers. There's an automatic judgment there, right?
That's so true.
Or just,
I'm a comic. Tell me a joke.
There's just, and it's like, if we would stop doing that. So to me, to go to, what are the thoughts on the differences in desires and impulses? I would say we all have desires and impulses. And I'm really thankful that we are created that way, to have desires and impulses. A lot of us, sadly, because of our childhood, our desires are squelched, or our impulses are spanked or disciplined. And so we become almost like afraid to be human, afraid to grow and to bloom. It's like it's just funny, this whole painting class that you brought up, that it was such a big deal to me. And the experience happened on a vacation we had in San Miguel, Mexico, which is a dreamy place. Definitely one of those you go, no wonder everybody retires to this place. But there were just lots of artists, and I just was like, I want to paint. And then Glenn goes, I was like, I want to come back here and paint. He goes, well, you could take a painting class in Nashville. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I don't want to take a painting class in Nashville.
Cabo. I'm going to go to Cabo and paint.
Right. I mean, give me that. And but it's like, what has happened that I am in my 60s and I am making such a big deal? Like it's an unattainable dream. But I think it's because I, from a very young age, have been a super task-oriented person, driven to accomplish things that matter, that bring in money, that have value. And so painting for me just seems like that's a frivolous, that would be, I don't know if that would fall under desire or impulse, but it's like, I would love to be free enough, but it's out of shame that a lot of it is like, or fear. I have a lot of underlying fear, which is wild to me. I mean, I don't even think I shared this. We went to our grandson's football game the other night, and I had brought those bleacher seats. We finally bought bleacher seats, and I couldn't figure mine out. And so I had too much shame and too much fear. And so I just sat on the stupid bleacher, and I had that thing by my feet. Glenn immediately figured his out, snapped it on, and sat. And he's like, man, this is so comfortable, babe. Thank you. And finally, the last quarter of the game, I go, babe, could you do mine? But it's out of shame and fear that I don't attempt a lot of things. So I'm like, to me, the question, Mike, I just want to say, like, oh my goodness, instead of trying to figure out, just let us encourage each other. To go, like, I want to know your desires. I want to know your dreams. I want to know your impulses. Like, I don't want to judge them. I just want to know them. I want to know you. What brings you joy? And what is stopping that from happening in your life? And so that would be my answer to Mike.
Yeah, and for most people, it's what we call the emotional dam. They've been emotionally dammed up so long, which was definitely our story for decades, literally. We were so emotionally dammed up, I could have never said to her on a Thursday afternoon what was happening for me authentically. There was so much fear.
Right.
So much trauma, wounding, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I had no capability. I'm certainly not, I haven't arrived. I'm not perfect. We're just pilgrims on the journey. We're a little further down the trail than some. But now I stay pretty up to speed with what's happening for me. So it feels much, much, much smaller to say to her on a Thursday afternoon what's happening for me, because I don't have, it's funny, I did a session the other day with a couple, and I said, what if you just, he was sharing some stuff. I said, what if you just told her that? And he started to choke up and he did his hands like this. And I said, what's happening there? And he goes, if I tell her one thing, I have to tell her all of it. And they've been married 36 years. He goes, I can't tell her 36 years worth. I'm like, well, dude, it's already true. It's already there. So what the heck? Mm-hmm. And he was there, and I said, is it going to take you more than once to unpack it all? Yeah. Let's just start. And he was able to turn to her and convey to her his authentic, vulnerable self. He was terrified to do that. He said, number one, she doesn't want to hear it, which she actually does. And number two, if I start, I'll probably cry for 6 months. And she can't handle all of me. And I said, well, what the heck? Jump in. She can get up right now and walk out. She's gone. What the heck? And the reality was she's just falling into him like, oh, this is my real friend. This is my real partner that I've been looking for the last 30 years. But and this was true for me. I knew if she ever saw me, she'd leave me. I didn't think that, feel it, believe it. I knew it was true. I was wrong, but I was 100% convinced. And so I spent all of my energy trying to present who I thought that she would stay with. And I'm startled that she stayed with me anyway. And I'm glad she did, but it was me. We don't know.
We're glad she did too.
We don't know if it's a poor choice. We're still dating. So, but that would be my thought. Just start undamming the emotional dam, and you'll get there. That's what we all need.
And that kind of answered the last question.
Oh my!
Yeah, it did. Yeah. How can a couple rekindle and restore a marriage that has been broken for a long time? And I put that one there because I thought it was a perfect way to lead into where can people find the connection codes?
Yeah, I mean, our story, I would say, is a story of redemption. And, sometimes I definitely, like you say, if you could do it again, would you stay on the road as long as you did? And you're saying, no, I wouldn't have. So a lot of us would love to rewrite our story, but then I'm also thinking we can just share our story, right? We can share our story of redemption and how bad things were, and that, and so to answer it, and I love what you just said, that actually does go into that. You start, right? Even, I think about my fear of sharing anger, and when someone said to me, what's the worst that could happen? And I said, well, I think I could just, once I start speaking it, I feel like my fear was I would hurt everyone in my path. And then what if everyone abandons me because I'm now authentically sharing, my anger? But that was super real for me. Like, that fear I was terrified. And then when I started, I felt like everyone, probably you got the most pain out of it. But your pain was more that I took so long to tell you things versus that I told him. His pain was really, man, this would have gone so differently if you'd have told me 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever. And so I feel like the opposite was that came about. And so to me, I have a client, and her husband has kind of been sitting on the sidelines watching her learn all this. And
probably
then
for a year. Is that right?
Yeah. And then the other day she said they had a really great moment, and she had been super vulnerable with him. And he goes, well, I think, that truth-telling wheel you've been using, I think maybe we should start doing that together every day. And so, but I love that truth-telling wheel. Yeah. And it's like, okay,
instead of just, I'm fine.
Right.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Right.
I'm fine.
Right.
But he got to see her humanness.
Yeah, she was super
her authentic, vulnerable self. He's like, oh, I can dance with that person. Yeah. And she's a real powerful business woman, which is not a compliment. It's just a descriptor. And so he's always like, well, I can't dance with her. I can't do anything with her. I can observe her. It's like, oh, yeah, she's kicking ass out there. She's just amazing. But I'm not bonding with her. I'm not connecting with her. And when she got authentic and vulnerable, he's like, oh, I can do this. I want to do this. And maybe I could do the wheel too, and we could actually find each other. And I never heard that phrase before, the truth-telling wheel. I like that. Because that's who he wants to be with. That's the reason he showed up on his wedding day. And they've been together, I have no idea, 20, 30 years or something. And you know, my dream is that people get this when they're dating, you know, when they're whatever, when they're 18, when they're 20. I wish I'd found this when I was 14, before she even met me. So that when she met me, I was actually functional to be able to convey authentically what was happening for me. And that's our mission, is to spread this.
Yeah, I remember saying that when I got into AA. I was 30, which to me was ancient. And I think, man, if I, you know, of course, Tammy always pointed out, if you never were drinking, we would have never met. So, you know, I mean, you can't regret. You can learn, but you can't regret. I mean, it's things would have changed the course of your life if you could. But to the knowledge of starting at 30, if I had started at 15 or 14, and we met, we would have been two completely different people, you know. And we've said that, you know. She said to me, I wouldn't even date the man you were, you know. And I said, well, I wouldn't date. Of course, she was pretty. So, she is pretty. She's gorgeous. But you can't build a life on lust. You know, unfortunately, you have to come up and breathe. And I believe this may get us up breathing in a different, on a couple different paths as we move into our golden years. And which is what the whole addition to the house is aging in place. So, you know, our goal is to die in our home, you know, with each other.
Not by each other's hands. That's the goal.
Not by each other's hands.
So you can hire somebody to do that.
We just saw a movie that was the fake hitman. It was called Hitman, and it was about a guy who pretended to be a hitman, and then they'd arrested people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and were trying to kill him. And then you realize they said that this really doesn't happen often. It's just because of movies, people think there are actual people, total strangers. Hey, I want you to kill my wife. Here's 20 grand. And they're for real. You know, no, they don't exist.
And as to the question, go to connectioncodes.co. And there's so many resources on there, free resources, but that'll get you started on that journey.
But the link will be in the show notes.
In the show notes, all of it. Even a link to their podcast.
And
all
Carollynn is the one to call if you're going to get a tattoo of the wheel on your face.
Yeah, I'll send you to my guy. I got one in every state. I got a whole bodysuit over here.
But here's the thing, if everybody had it, wouldn't be weird.
Yeah, well, the placement could be kind of weird. I don't want anyone to be like, hey, I got to talk to you about something. Bend over. Like, I don't want any of that.
I take your shirt off. It's right here, bro.
Maybe we'll just sell T-shirts instead. How about that?
T-shirts or
I
maybe
love the Thanksgiving T-shirt thing. That, you know, especially the way the life is today with family.
I know.
Yeah.
That's a funny idea.
You voted for who? Steven, get over here with your shirt. Anyways, you guys can get the connection codes, the connectioncodes.co. We'll have everything in the show notes. You guys, we are so grateful for you guys being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I never know when we sit what they'll be. And I always worry, you want to talk about the wheel. I was afraid we'd get 8 minutes into this and go, now what do we talk about? And here we are, 2.5 hours, but now we have to break it into two podcasts. But we really appreciate you. And again, to everybody out there, you're never too old to learn. You're never too old to change. And the lie the enemy wants us to believe is that we are locked into the situations we're locked into. And you married him for a reason, and you married her for a reason, and God put you together not get 20 years in or 30 years in and walk away. You've got this history together and this life together, and it's worth salvaging. So if this gets you unstuck and it gets you talking in a loving way to your partner, then this was worth every minute that we did this. And I thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you.
God bless you guys. Like, subscribe, all the things. If you don't like the connection codes, tell us in the comments and drive up the algorithm to help everybody else. We love you. God bless you. Have a great week.